Just a quick reminder, if y'all will turn your cell phones down or off for the next few minutes. And this morning, our objectives remain unchanged as we stay in this Groundhog Day loop. So with that in mind, I'll turn it over to Tom for weather.
Thank you, David. I'm Tom Bird, incident meteorologist. And like we always do every morning, we'll start out with some satellite imagery. This is current as of 7 o'clock. And some things to note is you got storms moving across Kansas. You got showers out in the Gulf, low clouds to the east of the state, and some monsoon clouds to the west. You look over Texas and you notice it's clear. And by now I bet you know why, and I'll show you. Oh, Lord. High pressure back over the state. Remember, the last several days it's been off to our east. That's allowed us to have a little bit better activity across the state as far as showers and thunderstorms. But overnight, it moved back over the state. We anticipated that it would do this. So it's acting exactly as we thought it might. And with that high pressure over us, it puts a lid on a lot of activity. And so it kind of squelches showers and thunderstorms for the most part. This is the only area that we have any kind of shower activity anywhere near Texas right now, and this is just some light showers moving in off the Gulf, but having a lot of trouble doing much more than just getting to the coast and then dying off. This is a look at the last 24 hours worth of precipitation across the state, and this is all the shower and rainfall activity that we had yesterday coming in off the Gulf up through the East Branch. And then we had some monsoon moisture activity out west. And then this was a little line of showers associated with a cold front that was dragging through North Texas. This is looking back 14 days and this precipitation across Texas. And you'll note this really dry band across most of northeast, central, and especially down in South Texas. We've been improving. We've had 3 days now of showers across the south, central, and the southern parts of the southeast branches. That's kind of added some moisture to that part of the state, but it's kind of just that one little location. It doesn't really help a lot of this area to the north. And these are the 14-day percent of normal precipitation across the state. And so you see the deficits in red continue being a bullseye of no precipitation down south. And what you'll note, if you've been watching, is that this area of red is creeping north and west through the north, the northwest, and parts of the west branch. Those were formerly fairly wet over the last 14 days, but that dryness has been creeping north through the state. Here's our highlights for today and going forward. That upper high, like I said, is back over the state. What that means is most of Texas will be dry again, especially as you look west and central. Less rain and storms over East Texas than what we've seen the last couple of days. We think the storms that develop will be closer to the coast and further south in the southeastern part of the state. So we'll be a little bit warmer today with that high pressure back over us. The RH is pretty steady, which I'll show you here in just a second. And breezy conditions return, especially out over the Panhandle. But most of the state won't be breezy, just out west and over the Panhandle. Through the weekend, so today, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we got that high pressure still going to be settled over the state. So we're looking at a dry period for much of the area through the weekend. Not a lot of precipitation expected. Then we get into next week, it looks like that ridge will break down, shift back off to the east, allow more moisture to move in, so better chances next week that we'll see some showers across the state. So here's our weather pattern for today. There's that high pressure back in play now over us. So that means most of the state will be dry. We just still have some of that Gulf moisture coming in along the coast, but kind of being deflected by that high. And so we think the storms will stay pretty close, kind of hug that coastline and not get as far interior as they did last night and the last couple of days. Here's our highs today across the state, and mid-90s on the low end. And we'll have some triple digits as you get south and maybe parts of central Texas. Relative humidities, not too bad. The lowest RHs are out west, and these have dropped since yesterday, but 30 plus from way out here all the way east, and pretty good along the coast and southeast. Looking at the precipitation, the winds now, pretty much a southeast flow across the state until you get up north and it's more southerly. All the gusts are going to be out west along the southern coast and up in the panhandles where the strongest winds will be. This is where we think the rainfall and the storms will be this afternoon. According to the forecast models, just a few out west in the Trans-Pecos over the southwest mountains of Texas, and then along the coast and up into far east Texas. This is looking at a model, and this is where it thinks the storms will be between 3 and 4 this afternoon. And there's some noise out here, which I don't think that we're going to see anything, but there will be a few storms out west, and then all this stuff along the coast is what we're thinking is going to happen. This is what the precipitation might look like this afternoon according to the models, so you can see most of the state continues dry. And if we look forward, high pressure through Friday. Sunday it begins to break, allows that moisture in, and then next week looks like we'll have some systems try to move in through and give us better relief from this dry period that we've had. If we look at what we think we'll see for precipitation going forward, this is through the weekend. So like I said, dry with high pressure over us, not a whole lot of precipitation across the state, basically hugs the coast, and then a few things up in the panhandle. And then slowly we start to fill that in next week as we get that high starting to move off. And then 10 days out, you're still seeing a lot of dryness through the interior of the state, but we start to see some relief east, south, and north. So that concludes weather.
Morning, everyone. Rich Gray, Operations. Yesterday was a fairly light day across the state. Our East Branch did have 2 IAs yesterday, and they wrapped those up pretty quickly, 100% contained, and will not be staffed today. No significant changes out in the staging areas, with the exception we did add a strike team of Idgen, strike team 44. They'll be here at McGregor, and with the forecast and that expanding dryness back north and west, we'll be sending a tractor up to Wichita Falls today, so they'll have some increased IA capabilities out of the Wichita Falls area. Maybe a change in pattern next week, but that's still about 7 days out, so everyone still needs to remember, got dried fuels out there, somewhat increasing temperatures and RH, so that means an increase in potential for IA. So everybody needs to maintain their vigilance and SA out there at the staging areas. Only other change in aviation today, we did have that order out for replacement air attack. We did not get a fill on that, so we'll be down to still 1 air attack across the state and the other tactical assets on their air bases. You can find that in your IAP in the 220. So again, bottom line today, increasing potential for IA, so everyone needs to stay vigilant. Just because we've been slow doesn't mean we won't go anywhere today. So y'all have a safe day. Thanks.
Morning. John McGee, Safety. Safety had another good day. I'm not aware of any accidents or injuries, so as they say up north, good on you. So keep it up. Pay attention to the basics. We heard the weather. While we all sit and wait for the weather to do something significant, it is what it is. And what it is hot over most of the area that you'll be operating in. Heat indices are all way above 100. You all hear about the temperature, the relative humidity. Your body responds more to the heat index. So keep that one in mind. When you get 105, your body's going to be stressed, okay? So stay hydrated, keep an eye on each other, keep an eye out for those heat-related injuries. The IAP has a message in there. One of them is something for you to use your time wisely. Talks about urban interface, urban intermix. Just about every one of the fires that we do respond to, there is private property, private structures, subdivisions, homes, and what have you. They bring into play a whole array of different risks and hazards. Go through your IRP, refreshing your memory some of those things you might run into, that we do run into out there. The last thing in there talks about the common denominators on fatality fires and injuries, serious injuries. And those line up with a lot of the fires we do here in Texas. They're all relatively small. It's light fuels, grass and brush, sudden wind changes, and I talked about yesterday the one out west where a crew was burning behind a dozer on a dozer line. Got too far ahead, it hooked behind them and cut off their escape route when the wind shifted. Okay? We talk about that here, so pay attention to that. And they happened during the peak of the burning period. All those common denominators occur with the fires that we have here. So I bring that up for you. Keep it in mind. Use LCES, okay? Keep your situational awareness dialed up, like Ops told us. Keep an eye on each other, and we'll all be back again tomorrow.
Good morning. I'm Verma Coleman, the Finance Section Chief, starting today. This is my first official work day. There's basically no changes. I just want to remind everyone to continue to, if you're at the remote locations, to scan and send your CTRs and your timesheets to the address in the IEP to Finance. I also just want to remind everybody, when I was here before working in Abilene, there were several incidents at hotels where people parked their vehicles and left things visible to a burglar. So please secure your personal items, the agency's items, and to reduce theft and damages to vehicles. The last thing we want is in finance, is to be processing any claims. We also want you all to be safe. Make sure your situational awareness and that you're aware of your surroundings. We don't want you to have any injuries. We want you to go home safe to your family. So please have a safe, wonderful day. And I'll be in finance. If you need to talk to me or have any additional questions, come see me, please. Take care. Have a good day.
Okay, that concludes briefing for today. A couple reminders coming up on a holiday weekend this weekend, also coming up on opening day of dove season this weekend, which is a big day here in Texas. So for all our folks that are coming in to assist us, we appreciate that. For all our TFSers that are out there, appreciate all your hard work. Remember, you're representing Texas A&M Forest Service while you're here in your home agency. So just be cognizant of all that increased recreation going on out there this weekend. So safety-wise and image-wise, let's pay attention to that. And also with the forecast, we know we're trending or potentially trending into some moisture, but we're going to maintain this current level of staffing to meet the current risks. So y'all have a safe day, and we'll talk to y'all tomorrow.
All right, that concludes our operational briefing this morning. If you've got your phones turned off, just a quick reminder, turn them back on. Thank y'all. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a safe day.